Its shores and woodlands of the north, its history of copper mines and iron ore, the Great Lakes fishery. To the farmlands of the southern counties we'll look around, my friend, and all that waits the sportsman in the state of Michigan. And sometimes when the moon brings out the diamonds in the snow, and the stillness of the forest lies encased in Arctic cold, the wind might whisper through the trees, listen if you can. It tells you of the beauty in the state of Michigan.
Hi there, come on in. This is one of these shows where I have some good news and some bad news. First, the good news. We had a great opening day of pheasant season. Ran into a pocket of roosters, got a great videotaped story. That's the good news. Now for the bad news. This sort of started a couple years ago. I met Red Wing hockey star Dave Barr at a fishing tournament promotion up in St. Clair. That's where I revealed to Dave my secret wish. I always wanted to be a professional hockey player. If there was one change I'd make in my life, folks, I'd be playing hockey instead of holding a fishing rod because...
But Fred, I've seen you skate, so I know why you've gone to fishing.
Oh, you haven't seen me skate. Dave Barr and I struck up a friendship. In fact, we went fishing several times together. Once to Gunaseo Lake Lodge up in northern Manitoba. That's where I proved I had what it takes to play professional hockey. I took this professional hockey star and pinned him. John Ford taped it. Now, one more thing. Got him down. Oh. Hold it right there. Now, you can see I clearly have the upper hand on this hockey pro, but it only lasted for a split second. Uh-oh. Well, okay, I guess I'm not really any competition for a real pro hockey player. But I'm leading up now to the real bad news. Now, there's two parts of this. One of them is Davey Barr was traded at the beginning of this hockey season to the New Jersey Devils. He really wanted to stay in Detroit. But before he left, he encouraged me to get out my skates and to join a men's hockey league so I could live out this fantasy of being a hockey player. Well, this past Tuesday night, I did just that. My first shift on the ice, I stopped the puck with my ankle. The second shift, I fell down, hit my head, and bent my glasses. The third shift, hey, here we go. I was able to break my leg. Well, I spent the past 2 nights in the hospital. I'm sure my style is going to be cramped a little bit in the next month or two with this cast, but the good news is the show will go on, so you stay tuned. I'm Fred Trost. It's Thursday night. Time for Michigan Outdoors. Ho, hen! The pheasant opener was a classic scene of beauty in the fields as the sun broke over the horizon and the dry grass glistened with frost. These fields in Clinton County have produced hundreds of pheasants over the years, but in the past 10, roosters have been more difficult to come by. Duchess is a year-old lab that doesn't have a lot of experience with pheasants, but she was eager to learn. 5 minutes into the first field, we found what we were looking for. That's that. Whoa, that was quick. I'll be darned. With an all-time low pheasant population of the past decade, we didn't know if this was a good sign or if it would be the last rooster we'd flush. Well, that was quick action. Oh, yeah. Come on, right here. There we go. Well, what do you think, guys? Huh?
The king has killed his bird.
Yep.
Right.
How about that?
Is that a bird, huh?
Boy, that's pretty. Regular ringneck. Well, that was tight. Right in front of me.
That's what you want.
Yeah. Easy. Almost too easy. But for the many fruitless hours we had put in the years past, we didn't mind an easy bird on October 20th, 1991. The rooster in the game bag was a traditional ring-necked pheasant, not the new Sichuan variety the DNR is trying to propagate. Most Sichuan areas are closed to pheasant hunting to give this new strain a chance to take hold. But in the meantime, our old ringnecks in many areas are experiencing an upturn. Not a huge upturn, but many hunters report seeing a few more birds than in past years. The big change in pheasant hunting over the past 20 years is where you have to tromp to flush the modern ringneck. Ronnie Underhill and Duchess are plowing through some typical canary grass cover. My hunting buddy Tim Farragon has hunted pheasants since he was a little farm boy, and he's seen these birds change their habits over the years. To our amazement, we hadn't been hunting 20 minutes and a second rooster is in the game bag. Action like this is reminiscent of those good old days, except you were more likely to get multiple flushes, not singles like we find today. Good shot, Tim.
Thank you. Thank you.
At this rate, we'd limit out in an hour, but chances were it was the early morning cold, the frost, the conditions that were holding the pheasants tight. When the frost melts, the birds will probably head for the farm fields to feed. Having 2 labs working with 4 hunters is a big help in combing the roosting cover where the birds are found at daybreak. Labradors don't point, but they do get excited when they smell a pheasant at close range.
Oh, hen!
Hens are not legal game because they make the nests, and in most states, hen pheasants are totally protected.
I'll tell you what, these birds are in here. You can see how that one was behind us. Ron had already walked past. You already walked past that one, Ron.
Yeah.
Old Duchess works these birds well.
Not too bad for a year old.
No kidding.
Some dogs take to pheasant hunting, some don't, but Duchess looks promising. It's fun to watch a good dog at work.
You didn't have me on camera shooting both of them, did you? There you go, hen.
Did you see that hen bust through that thick grass? I got to admit, it startled me. Watch it in slow motion. It's amazing the way they launch themselves through this thick cover. Let's look at that explosion again. Nobody ever gets to see this except on slow motion videotape.
There you go, hen. Oh. Boy, that baby. That flushed out right here. I mean, 4 feet away. Whoa! That's a pumper. Should be more right in here.
Where you find hens or roosters holding in thick cover at this time of morning, it's worth it to go back and forth over that same cover at least a second time. If the birds are holding tight, they'll let you walk by at least once. Duchess is definitely birdie. There's either a pheasant close by or it was here very recently within a matter of minutes. We have 2 dogs working this cover. Brandy is the black lab. Bob Voisinette hunts with Brandy quite a bit. Now, she's a good dog, but both Brandy and Bob are used to a sort of a brisk pace. They cover lots of ground. Here's where my opening day ends.
There you go. Good job. Oh.
You get him, Fred?
Yep. What a way to finish the hunt. Oh, another one? That's the hen. No,
That's a rooster.
Let's do the dogs up there.
Well, we didn't expect this much pheasant action. It was a great surprise.
Well, thank you, Ronnie. Yeah, that is a nice bird. It's a little older, too.
Most of the roosters that are taken by hunters are young of the year. Their spurs are blunt. But this rooster was a year older than the average and had longer, extremely sharp spurs.
How about that? Well, that's how you end the pheasant opening day. John, you gonna hunt?
Okay.
I'll take the camera.
Well, I got my limit in less than an hour on opening day. So John takes up the 12 gauge, and me, I had my finger on the camera trigger. It was kind of fun for a change. But it would be especially fun if I could be behind John when a rooster gets up so I could capture it all on tape. But, you know, how much luck can you hope for in one day?
Oh, there goes 2 more right there.
Whoa!
We got it.
John!
I don't know if I can take credit for that one. I'll take credit for it.
You can take credit for it. Get it, Brandy.
Bob Voisinette lets Brandy sniff that rooster, give her a snootful of that odor she searches so diligently for in the weeds. Instead of the camera, John now carries the birds.
John, you're looking good.
You're looking good.
Yeah, it looked good. That was fun. That was incredible.
It was an incredible opening morning, certainly not expected to get such fast action and get most of it on tape. In 3 hours, 4 of us had 5 roosters. We saw more roosters than hens, which was unusual, but let's hope that that means Michigan's ringnecks are on the upswing. Well, here's the scoop on pheasant hunting in 1991. Basically, you're going to find the birds all over southern Michigan in small pockets here and there. There's no such thing as a whole county or a whole large area that has a consistent high population of pheasants. The second thing is you're going to want to hunt the thick cover because the birds have moved into the thick stuff. And thirdly, you're going to really want to get out to maximize your odds the first hour or two after daybreak in that roosting cover. But we did it, and you can do it too if you find some of those small little pockets on the right farm. Now let's take a look at deer hunting, some changes that have taken place over the years, looking at our Williams Gun Sight Hunting Awards data for bucks 10 points and up. In 1987, only 3 of several hundred trophy bucks were taken by hunters who rattled antlers to attract the bucks. In 1988, only 4 were reported by rattling. In 1989, we started tracking calling and grunting, which works much better than rattling. But baiting wasn't a technique that seems to be particularly useful in looking for trophy bucks, at least not as successful as you might expect. Now, last year, rattling success was poor, calling and grunting were on the upswing, and 30 big bucks were taken over bait. Keep in mind, however, that most big bucks, several hundred, were taken without any of these fancy techniques at all. A lot of it is just good old hunter's luck. Now let's take a look at some October fish and a great buck story in our trophy book. Alan Gwynn from Nunica knows how to get the picture of his 2.5-pound Menominee whitefish on TV, have his pretty little girl hold it. Alan caught it in Lake Michigan on October 12th. The man wearing the historical sweatshirt is Jeff Ply from Kalamazoo. He caught this 21.5-inch inland rainbow trout from Gull Lake on October 21st, still fishing a perch minnow from shore. October 6th produced this 22-inch, 7-pound largemouth bass from Cass County's Little Fish Lake for Jerry Kroll from Michigan City, who was casting a lucky 13. October 7th in Houghton County's Portage Lake, Pat Coleman from Chassel was using a jig and minnow at noon when he caught this 44-inch, 24.5-pound muskie. And on October 10th, Carl Carpenter from Traverse City caught walleye on a crawler harness in Little Bay de Noc. His biggest was 31 inches. Here's Wayne Kuhlman from Metamora with a 12-point buck that had a 21.25-inch spread, 270 pounds dressed. He took it bow hunting on November 1st, calling and rattling from his tree stand. Now, Wayne is a confident, aggressive hunter, and I found he's no different on stage.
I've been wanting to get on this show for 16 years. Could you hold that for a second?
Sure.
I didn't want to mess up. I just wrote a few things down that I wanted to on about this story here. It's only going to take a few seconds.
Okay, I'm sure.
No. Actually, I got to thank my boss for giving me the day off of work to get this buck. I live in Metamora. Steve and I, we shoe horses with Jim Dolson, so we're always on the road looking at the deer. And been hunting them for 2 weeks. Couldn't get him myself. We were grunting and rattling. I couldn't get him in to come in close enough for a bow shot. So I had Steve come over about 5 in the morning, come over, and he grunted and rattled it in for me for about a 10, 12-yard shot. And he went about 300 yards, and we got that one. And then with a shotgun, I took this one here across the street from my house. And then I went up north religiously, like everybody does, opening day, and I took this one here with a rifle.
Outstanding. Here, take
about
the
it.
cards. Shake my hand. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you next year.
He's a good sport with a good sense of humor and has exceptional skill as a hunter, so we have to name Wayne Kuhlman from Metamora our Outdoors Club Trophy Buck Hunter of the Week. Our new October-November issue of the Outdoor Digest magazine has a section in it we call Scattered Shots. These are letters from viewers and club members who have opinions on a variety of subjects. Let's take a look at some of the ones that relate to our investigation of the DNR's handling of Michigan's hunting and fishing licensing system. Mark Grant from Muskegon had a typical comment. Your September 5th show really got me in a lather. I'm outraged at the lack of service that I thought the DNR was providing. From Adrian, Brad Baublitz writes, I work for a State Department and all of our records are kept up and accurate. Where is all the Michigan hunters' money going? And the Gentners from Livonia had a suggestion for getting answers from the DNR. Since they don't care for you and your staff, let them set a date and place to meet with us, who pay their wages, and let them answer the very same questions you have asked. I don't think we, the public, will be as congenial as you have been this far. Well, last week I said that we would investigate the Deer Range Improvement Program monies. It's called the DRIP Fund. Back in 1971, the legislature earmarked $1.50 from every deer hunting license to go towards deer range improvement, specifically winter deer range, the deer yards in the northern counties. About 1 million deer licenses are sold each year, so the fund should have $1.5 million to spend on deer yard improvement annually. But when we were investigating the discrepancy in deer census numbers in the eastern UP, wildlife biologist Ray Perez indicated that despite the fact the deer yards in the eastern UP are in bad shape, a rather small amount of deer range money is used in his district.
We spend the majority of our time, we spend most of our time, majority of our time in with expenditures of funds that are coming out of license money. Those funds basically drive our programs here in the district, and most of those are deer range funds. So we commit, I think for the district, about 60% of our time goes into deer range work.
And that deer range work, how much money do you get from the state in the deer range improvement funds to do deer management?
Over the last several years, we've been averaging around $50,000 to $70,000 a year. We call contractual services and travel funds, things you have to do as far as buying gas for your machines and issuing contracts.
That's the deer management money?
Yes, that's out of the $1.50 license to hunters pay for. We get about $60,000 to $70,000 a year out of that.
$60,000 to $70,000 a year sure doesn't sound like much money to be spent in an area that has a difficult time with deer yards. But DNR Forester Mike Renner says his forestry division doesn't use any deer range improvement money.
Does the forestry division, have you been operating off of deer management monies to do anything with that?
No, very little. In this area. Now you get west of here, the other parts of the district, they've used a lot of deer management or deer habitat monies. Basically ours are all handled by timber sales.
Timber sales that allow the logging of state lands do improve wildlife habitat, but the prime goal is not deer management, it's taking marketable logs. And these timber sales don't cost the DNR money, they make the DNR money to the tune of about $8 million last year because private companies pay the state for the timber they take off. Deer range improvement funds are supposed to be used in deer yards where lumbering isn't generally done.
Is it possible to do anything with the deer yards?
Yeah, we think it is. And we're really working with Greg Soulier right now. We're coming up with some real, maybe radical ideas that aren't ready to let go yet, but we're working on it right now.
Will the funding and the personnel and whatever's needed be there to pull these things off?
I think so. A lot of our work we're able to get done with timber sales. By the way we write the contract, we can have the contractor do most of the work. Where you have to have something specific like planting afterwards or burning or whatever we decide to do, then we have to have other funding. And I believe the money is there. Wildlife can tell you for sure, but I understand that the deer range habitat money is there to work on deer yards.
Up to this point, for the past couple years, is there what you would call much deer management going on in Chippewa County?
I think there's been a lot of deer management. I don't think there's been a lot of deer range money spent.
Well, we have a major discrepancy here. The district forester says very little deer range improvement money is being used in his deer yards. The district wildlife biologist says no more than $70,000 a year is being used for deer range improvement. But when Charlie Keenan checked the financial records of the DNR State Wildlife Office, District 4 had $241,000 credited against it in deer range improvement money for last year, and District 11, that's the Lansing district, a district that has no deer yards, but it does have a staff of highly paid DNR bureaucrats. That district spent $336,897 in DRIP funds last year. It looks like the deer range improvement program is possibly another scam that's being played upon hunters by our own state DNR. We're going to have more information on this next week.
It's got a great recipe called Homestyle Pheasant Cheese Soup. And Barbara Conklin sent this in, and almost all her recipes have something to do with pheasant. And
yeah, her husband must be a pheasant hunter extraordinaire.
Yes. Got carrots and celery and mushroom and onions. You just want to saute these until they're crisp tender. You don't want to cook them thoroughly so they're mushy. And then you're going to add a little bit of flour just for a thickening. Going to actually make a white sauce here with the vegetables right in the same pot.
Well, this is a soup, a pheasant cheese soup.
Right.
It's actually kind of a vegetable soup.
Yeah, it is, with the vegetables in it. And then just want to let that thicken just a little bit, and then add some broth. And it really isn't a thick sauce at all.
Well, that broth, wasn't that pheasant broth
Yes,
that you
it
made
is.
from boiling the pheasant?
Right, left over from that. And then you just want to shred your pheasant once it's cooked, and then just go ahead and add it to your pot.
Well, you get the bones out of it, plus
Yes.
you get the shot out of it.
Yes.
There's some stray shot in there.
A little bit of paprika for color and just a little bit of taste. That's all that goes into it.
That's it?
That's it. Very, very
No,
simple.
there's cheese. There's cheese. This
Yeah,
is
of-
pheasant cheese soup.
Well,
Kat.
of that ingredients. Then you want to add American cheese. She says not to use cheddar because it does break down a little bit.
What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the finest of the ingredients, the pheasant, the carrots, those sorts of things separated away from the
broth?
liquid. Oh yeah, I mean it's all fine, it's all great, but I like in my soup to be able to get a spoonful of substance once in a while.
So what you're saying is that this soup isn't thick enough for you.
It could be just a little bit thicker, and there'd be no reason why you couldn't put a few more vegetables in. This is not bad soup. This is excellent
Oh, it
soup.
is.
I just like thicker soups. Some people don't. I do.
Yeah, it was one that Barbara Conklin herself said that could have broccoli in it. It's very much like a
Right.
broccoli
Yep.
cheese soup.
Well, broccoli would be real good in it.
Absolutely delicious. And some people will probably say, pheasant, why are you going to eat pheasant this way? Well, this would work well with pheasant leftovers. Pheasant, any
It'd
sort
go
of
a long
pheasant.
ways. I think your pheasant, you would, extend it here.
Wonderful.
Just more veggies.
Lots more.
No noodles?
What the hey? Throw 'em in.
We're not kidding. That pheasant cheese soup recipe is a real winner, easy to make and delicious. You can get that recipe in our Outdoor Digest magazine. The address will be coming up in just a moment. I want to thank all the folks at Sparrow Hospital who made my 2-day stay there so enjoyable, especially the folks down in the X-ray division. They presented me with a special X-ray that they all signed around the border. When they brought this X-ray up to me this morning, just before I was discharged, they said it really didn't look too bad. They didn't understand why I was in the hospital. Well, my X-ray really didn't look that good. I tell you, I really can't encourage all you 40 and up guys to go out and play a rough game of hockey. But I can encourage you to get outdoors. I'm going to. It's a great place to be. See you next week.
Michigan Outdoors is brought to you by Auto Owners Insurance for all your life, home, car, and business insurance needs. Available through your local independent auto owner's agent listed in the yellow pages under insurance. And by the financial support of viewers like you.
Well, I got my limit in less than an hour on opening day, so John takes up the 12 gauge, and me, I had my finger on the camera trigger. It was kind of fun for a change, but it would be especially fun if I could be behind John when a rooster gets up so I could capture it all on tape. But, how much luck can you hope for in one day? Whoa! You got it. John!